Some of the themes we've noticed from this week and last week, we determined that we're a focused gathering. Um, we have a task or a mission at hand that we've all gathered together as a group to achieve. And our stake for the focused gathering is our grade in the class. So that's what we're working to achieve for every one of us together.
And the thing with last week too is we start out the groups by we come together and meet each other. We start out by going over all the questions and kind of listening to one another and what we think, and then but also kind of keeping an open mind of what we believe and taking what other people believe as well.
Yeah, and then like what he had already mentioned that us coming together, we all have like the same common goal to accomplish.
Another thing with the group involvement keeps the focus gathering alive. Obviously, each one of us working together, throwing in our input will keep it going. We do have the lack of involvement, which is the interruptions or distractions, just maybe people walking around and stuff like that. So I have noticed that as well.
Or maybe laughing.
Yeah, or her laughing to start it off, but it's good. Let's see.
After doing the readings, after the readings and the lectures, we came together and felt like it kind of was diverted from one another. We feel like the lecture focused on like describing to us that the statement when it said groups tend to have gatherings, but not all gatherings involve groups, because they said that group should involve something that you're going to have a future with, being friends, and like have a future with those person to be at gatherings. And we feel like us coming together, like as we read it the first, that a group is a set of 3 or more people. It did not say anything about having to become friends or having a future with each other. And we feel also that like when we became a group, we did not know one another, so we never knew like if we were going to like each other, we got along or not got along, which we happened to get along. But but like it was just kind of different from the lecture because it is a gathering because we are a focus gathering, but we are also a group. Anyone want to add on?
Maybe, but I don't want
Wasn't last week just about like the different?
Well, another thing I noticed was last week was a little bit more broad. They only had like 3 different types of groups, like the business, accidental, or ceremony. This week, I guess you can say it's business, but it's not really. It's not by accident because we work together to come together. We're not really celebrating unless we get a good grade, and then we'd celebrate that. So I just think it got a little bit more in-depth, opened it up for more different groups, and then went into, I guess, small groups and maybe just the total of how you're always in a group or always gathering with something. Let's see, what's question 2?
Now the question 2, we really haven't, we've kind of discussed this, so we really haven't. So we're going to kind of get the input of everybody right now. Okay, if you were a parent, what would you do if your child preferred to play video games rather than play outside? Okay, I personally would I'd want them to play, like, instead of doing video games, I would want them to go outside more, because I feel like going outside, like, it's a child, it depends on the age, really, but, like, a child should, I work at a daycare, so a child should, like, meet friends and have communication with children, because if not, then, like, that doesn't open up to who, like, how do I say this? Like, who are they going to be? Because, like, if they just are there with you and they're going to turn out more like you instead of, like, who they truly are.
Yeah. I agree. I would prefer for them to get out more and be outside. I don't mind if they want to play video games, maybe later at night after it gets dark, if the weather's bad. I think it's good just to get outside, to be active. Like she said, being social, going playing basketball with kids around the neighborhood just helps get them used to meeting people and having little gatherings of his own. So I guess you would just try to ease him away from it and maybe limit his time on the video games.
Yeah, and to add on what he said, like if it is later in the day or it is bad weather, they could always invite their friends to come in, and then they could play video games together. So it's always keeping them in contact with others, having them be social when they can't go play outside.
But like I could see where people would want to do video games because like working at a daycare, video games do help with like imagination. Like if they play games with like certain things, it helps their imagination become more open and more different than what like you can actually see where they're at home and stuff like that. So I could see that thing, but I would want my child to play outside and with friends because that's how I was. Okay, if you were a parent, what would you do if your child preferred to read than play outside with friends? This is kind of a hard question.
It is. Obviously you don't want to get onto your child for wanting to read.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would encourage him to maybe split the time, kind of like the video games. Play outside while you can, and then at night, after dinner, go read.
But I think it mainly depends on like the age because like if it's an older child, then like I would say it's not homework, so I would say that's hard.
I mean, definitely if they're younger, you're not
Yeah.
gonna like
Read a book.
yeah, you're not gonna be
Yeah.
like read, like do this.
But if they
Mhm.
preferred to read, though,
If they preferred to read,
like they would rather on a
can
nice
they
sunny
read
day,
if
would
they're
they?
like a young?
Okay, this is
Yeah.
I have a cousin who's very, 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 very smart. She was in 4th grade and she read almost on a 12th grade level, but she did not like to go outside and have fun and play with friends. So like it kind of made her socially awkward when she
Mhm.
became older because she didn't get when she was younger. My aunt let her read and stuff instead of go outside, so she didn't get to. Which now she kind of grew out of it. She grew out of it big time. But like whenever she first started like school and stuff, it kind of like she was more focused on reading than going out. And then whenever I was like little, I remember I had a kid in my class who like during recess would go to the side and read. And like I feel like children should not be that dependent on reading. Then they should not making friends. Like some people, like you've heard people be like, books are my friends because like they live in the world of the books they read, and that should not be. They should have friends out of the books and know how to talk to people and out of books instead of just reading.
Not get sucked in and lose reality of
Mhm.
how things really are. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I said it's one of those you just work and try to find a happy medium with it. So, encourage them to socialize, but also encourage them to read.
yeah. So, okay, are there certain focus activities that parents should favor over others for their kids? If so, how should they be ordered, and if why not? Okay, so I think all that depends on like the ages, like we've been saying throughout. Because if they're older, like if you had let's name like 3 things that we could talk about. Like let's do homework because that's a big one, and playing outside, and
like school activities, like
sports. Okay, I think that homework, sports, or I don't know. I don't play sports, so I would say homework, groups, and then sports.
But you could almost consider the sport to be
Yeah.
a group.
I think it
Because
just-
they would make friends
Yeah.
on their team.
Yeah, that's their social interaction.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I mean, they could always be involved in 2 groups. But
Yeah.
regardless, I would say school's always going to come
But
first.
see, like whenever I was little, I didn't play sports, but all my friends did. So like, and I cheered, but like I wasn't friends with all my friends. Played softball, they didn't cheer, so I wouldn't leave them just to go play with my cheer friends when I was older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it depends on the age.
Yeah, I think it's just, you want to kind of guide your children, I guess, to make sure they're focused on like school and their homework. That wants to be like top priority. And then you also want to make sure they have a good work ethic with their chores and make sure they get that kind of stuff done around the house. But also, I don't know. I've also don't think you should push a child. I think you should kind of allow him to do like I was saying earlier. Maybe encourage to go outside and not play the video games as much. Maybe set certain times, stuff like that. But I kind of believe you gotta let the child make it its own, but just kind of guide them instead. So, is there one more?
How about this week's lecture clarify or muddy this question? I feel like it muddied it a lot
Yeah.
because I feel like this week's lecture like was focused so much on groups. Like I feel like it made, especially me, believe that groups are like an important part of, or like not groups but gatherings are like an important part of life to get, you know.
It's how we grow and learn.
Yeah.
We only know what we've been told before. That's what they say when you talk, you're only saying something you repeat. But when you listen to somebody that you're interacting with, you get a chance to learn something different. She pointed out earlier, as we were discussing, you pointed the communication is the key to survival with people. And I talked about confinement is so bad for people because you don't see anybody for the most of the day. So you need that communication, and having the groups and the gathering is something that builds you in many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Okay.